The battle over the budget, it's a financial argument, it's an economic argument, but more than anything these days, it's a political argument because at stake is nothing less than who sits in the White House come January 2013. This is familiar territory to our next guest. Fred Malek is in the business of hotel investing as founder of the Thayer Lodging Group, but he has years of experience as a Republican rainmaker. He was an aide to President Richard Nixon. He chaired George H.W. Bush's 1992 campaign for the White House. He was finance chairman for John McCain's run for the presidency 3 years ago, and he has consulted for Sarah Palin. Fred is here with us right now. So, Fred, you think about the budget debate. It is one salvo after another. Whether it's John Boehner, Tim Geithner, it doesn't matter. Both sides in a pitched fight. What I would like to know from you is, in your opinion, are the Republicans succeeding at this point in turning the debate to their advantage?
Well, the Republicans have absolutely turned the debate to their advantage because they're the ones that are showing the leadership and advancing the ball. What I cannot understand is why the president has not come forward much earlier with a plan to reduce the deficit and move more toward a balanced budget. Everything he's done so far in the last 2.5 years has been to increase the deficit. There's been nothing really to reduce the costs. So I think Paul Ryan in taking the leadership, I think the House and the Senate leadership taking it on and insisting on cuts in order to get a debt ceiling increase is absolutely the responsible thing to do. And I think it puts the advantage in our court because people have reached a tipping point where they really care about this.
People are beginning to care about this, and the politics of the situation are helping to drive that. But what is the risk in your mind that the politics get out of control and the politics end up hijacking the economy?
I don't think the politics will hijack the economy. I think at the core of this, the issue, the problem, is not the ceiling, which we're all talking a lot about. The problem at its core is the size of the debt. With $14 trillion, over $14 trillion of debt, adding to it by over $1 trillion a year, as far as the eye can see, spending 40 cents of everything the government spends is being borrowed. I think the argument is on the Republican side, the responsible side, to do something about it.
Well, that is a very persuasive argument, and it is an argument that can even resonate with the so-called man on the street. Yeah. It's not just a high-level argument. Right. Anybody who runs a household budget understands that you simply can't borrow into infinity. But what I want to know from you, because this is an area where you have a lot of experience, is what is the right message to send? That's one part of it, but that's not the only part of the message that the Republican Party appears to want to deliver. The other is on taxes. Now, taxes are an argument where they don't have total control because you have the president on the one hand, right, saying no middle-class tax hike. The Republicans saying no new taxes at all, and running the risk that the Democrats focus on that part as saying, well, no new taxes just is to the advantage of the 20% or more wealthiest segment of the American population.
Well, I think we have to keep our eye on, both politically and substantively. There's one issue, economic issue, that rises even beyond national debt, and that's jobs. I mean, this jobs report in May was truly upsetting. And unless we can get the jobs machine going, we are not going to grow this economy. We are going to have tepid growth at best for a long time unless we can create more jobs. So whatever we do, we don't want to deter the creation of jobs. Now, so let me interject for just a moment. Are you certain that the best way to make that argument about jobs is by using taxes? I think that keeping the tax level where they are and not increasing taxes, which would be an impediment to growth, increasing taxes on capital, which are already going up from 15 to 23.8% by 2014, that does not help the creation of jobs. That does not help to create investment. And I think that by keeping taxes where they are, you at least provide some incentive. I don't think reducing them further is the answer, but I think you do need other measures to create jobs.
Fred, we're going to continue the conversation, but before we go, I want to ask you, who in your mind of the presidential candidates for the Republican Party who have announced thus far is best positioned to deliver the message you just articulated?
We have 3 former governors who have reduced spending, balanced budgets, and created job growth in their state. We have a 4th person, Governor Perry of Texas, thinking about running, who has created more jobs in the state of Texas than any state in the union. So we have 3 and potentially 4 former governors one current governor, who have done the job, who have shown what can be done under Republican leadership.
Yeah, but all
And I
four
think,
can't be president at the same time.
yeah, but I think they all have a great message. Romney has a great record in business of creating jobs. Pawlenty has a tremendous 8-year record governing in a Democrat state as a conservative Republican, creating jobs, keeping spending down, vetoing spending increases. I think we got an embarrassment of riches with 3 really good and possibly 4 really good candidates.
And just a couple of moments ago, you said the right message for the Republican Party is no new taxes, no higher taxes. The question I have for both you gentlemen is, how do we close the budget gap if we don't find a way to raise more revenue?
Well, in fact, it's not just a question for the Republicans. It's a question for the whole country and for the globe, Erik, right? I think the ultimate policy that we're trying to achieve is an oxymoron. We're trying to achieve austerity with growth, right, Fred? And there's simply no way to get that growth without pro-tax policies. So I suspect Fred and I are going to be on the same side with regard to the taxes. The politics are another thing. I was listening to you earlier, Fred, in your segment, and I'm not so sure this Medicare debate is coming out the way Republicans would like it to come out, or frankly, where the country should have it come out.
Well, the debate's not over yet, but I would agree with you. Right now, on the Medicare, as we saw in New York 26, there is some impact from Medicare, let's call it, on the Democrat side. However, unless we have a meaningful cut in discretionary spending and a long-term approach to some of these entitlements, it's going to be all over. Look, we've already had 2 major agencies warning us on debt, and unless we can get serious about doing something about these entitlements, we're going to continue in a very scary situation.
Yesterday, the big number for USA Today was $534,000, Erik. $534,000 is the amount of unfunded pension and Social Security benefits promised to each American household. Yeah. That's a big number to cut.